What's up and welcome back to another video, guys. We have a lot more information regarding the 2026 LEGO Star Wars set waves. We have pretty much the entire January 1st wave, as well as some very interesting information regarding the rest of the year. We have a lot to talk about, so if you're excited, leave a like, and without further ado, let's get right on into this video. Starting off on January 1st with probably the least exciting of these sets, we have set 30727, the TIE Advanced. This is going to be a poly bag, coming in at 68 pieces with a retail of $4.99. Now this could also be the May 4th promo that we see as the poly bag for 2026, but we'll just have to wait and see. But given, how history has been, if it repeats itself, this will end up being that poly bag that we end up getting at that first threshold. But moving on, the next set that we have is going to be the actual Darth Vader's TIE Advanced, coming in at a retail of $69.99 with 473 pieces as well as 3 minifigures. Now this set shaping up to be a good one at that $70 price tag. We see a lot of our ships come in at $70, so it's nice to see no more price increases yet as of right now, and I think it has been very well overdue to see a new Darth Vader's TIE Advanced. It's ones that the fans have been wanting for a long time now, and now that we are finally getting another playset is great to see. Now as for the minifigures, if I had to guess, it'd probably just end up being Darth Vader, maybe a stormtrooper and some sort of officer or TIE pilot. I would say pretty similar to what we saw with the TIE bomber in that minifigure lineup, something very similar to that. Or LEGO could throw us, a cool minifigure in there. I'm not sure what they would put in, but I do think there is an opportunity for it. Now the next set being a very controversial one in set 75423, we have Luke's Red 5 X-Wing. This has 584 pieces and a retail price of $99.99. Now this at an insane price point, especially because we saw a couple of drawings of this set of what it was mocked up to be. But the reason for this crazy price is that it will be including the smart brick. Now a lot more information has come up about the smart brick and why LEGO is integrating it and what it does. I don't want to talk about it in this video because I'm going to make a longer video about it, but basically it makes sounds and it lights up is basically all you need to know. It does some other stuff as well with the online things as well, so it could be very cool to see. But as for the mock-up of this X-Wing, definitely not cool to see. This X-Wing, I think they could have integrated the smart brick and still made this build look good, but this one is just hands down ugly. Like, it looks like a 4+ set, not even. It just looks bad. It looks ugly, especially if you're paying $100. This is not the X-Wing that you want, and most people didn't even want a new X-Wing because, we get Luke's X-Wing every couple of years, so this is very sad, especially to see that it's a downgrade from the previous version, especially at that $100 price tag. But maybe the smart brick is something that could elevate this set to make it worth that $100. I am very skeptical, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next up, we have set 75437, the Cobb Vanth Speeder, with 207 pieces and a retail of $34.99. This is going to include Cobb Vanth, as well as Cad Bane, and one other unknown minifigure, whether that be some sort of droid or like some sort of bystander to their duel. Overall, though, I think this is going to be a very fun set. I think the build will be, just looking like Cobb Vanth's Speeder, and then we'd also have for our minifigures with Cad Bane and Cobb Vanth will be great to see in a cheaper set. Cad Bane normally only in the more expensive set, so it'll be great to get him for a cheaper option, as well as getting Cobb Vanth finally as a minifigure. I think this one's shaping up to be a pretty fun one. We'll have to wait and see if it'll be worth that $35 price tag. Would have loved to see this one come in at like 30 or 25, but we will just have to wait and see. Now another Mandalorian related set is set 75436, the Mandalorian and Grogu speeder bike, with 58 pieces and a retail of $9.99. Now I think that this is a very fairly priced set, especially coming in at $10, and you get your 2 minifigures. Now I'm not expecting anything crazy. The build is going to be exactly the same as the previous Mandalorian speeder bike that we saw, but the minifigures coming in, you get your Mandalorian as well as Grogu for $10. I think it's a great deal, and definitely capitalizing on the hype that will be around the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which we have a ton more sets to talk about a little bit further down the line. Next up, we have our 2 mini-scale sets of the January 1st wave with set 75440, the Hoth AT-AT. Now, both of these are 18+, but the Hoth AT-AT has 525 pieces and a retail of $64.99. I think this will be a great set. It's very nice to see that the mini-scale series is branching out to not just be starships and also becoming, ground vehicles like the AT-AT. I think definitely opens a lot of doors for possibility down the line, and I think it will be a very fun one to see. And the second of the 18 18 plus mini scale sets is going to be set 75441, the Venator, coming in at 643 pieces and a retail of $79.99. This has been a heavily fan requested set for a very long time, ever since the induction of the Starship collection, so very nice to see it finally getting its adaptation after the Acclimator. Now I feel like this will be a very nice one to see. I saw a couple of alternate builds for the Acclimator to turn it into a Venator, so I feel like it's going to be pretty similar to that, but this will be a great one to see. Might be the first of the mini scale sets that I actually buy for my collection. Will be great to see the Venator being such an iconic ship, and finally getting one will be a great addition to the Starship collection. Next is set 75443, the Grogu's Homestead. This is going to be a 4+ set with 107 pieces and a retail of $19.99, and it's looking like it will end up having 3 minifigures. Now, one of the minifigures will probably be Grogu, and as for the others, I have no clue, but this is going to be based off of the Mandalorian movie, and the build is going to be, I'm not sure just yet, but I feel like this will be a pretty lackluster set given the 4+ age rating, and most of the other 4+ sets are pretty lackluster, but we will just have to wait and see. Next, we have a pretty controversial one in set 75448, the Clone Shock Trooper mech, with 151 pieces and a retail of $14.99. I feel like the mechs have definitely been pretty hit or miss. I would say they're mostly misses. The only one that I think is, a fun one is the Darth Maul mech. All the other ones, they're just not worth it at the price tag. It's one that's always sitting on shelves, always sitting on sale, and I think this one will be no different. I don't think you can get super creative with a mech, especially when the clone trooper that you choose to include is just a shock trooper, one that is really readily available in other sets. They definitely should have gone and, gone with a new Legion that we'd never seen before, or a named clone trooper like Commander Wolf or Commander Doom or something like that. But maybe this is just testing the waters, and that's something that we'll see down the line. But I'm just not impressed by a shock trooper mech, and I think it is very overpriced. I'm not a big fan of the mechs. Maybe a couple of you out there are. I just don't think that this was the right way of going about doing a clone trooper mech. And we have our battle pack for January 1st being set 75449, the Siege of Mandalore battle pack, with 116 pieces and a retail of $22.99. This is going to have 4 minifigures, the 2 first ones being 3 32nd clone troopers, and the other 2 being Maul Mandalorians, and the build is going to be a little Mandalorian speeder. I think that it will be reminiscent to what we saw in the previous Mandalore battle pack all those years ago, but I think this one's shaping up to be a pretty good battle pack. Now, yes, it's a little bit disappointing to see the 3 32nd clone troopers be reintroduced to another battle pack so soon after their other one. Would have been nice to have seen some sort of other clone legion get the limelight for a battle pack, but getting the Maul Mandalorians is definitely a highlight. Personally, I would have loved just to get 4 Maul Mandalorians, because it's such a hard minifigure to army build, given it only ever came out in that Mandalorian speeder back during the Clone Wars. So would be great if that was all that we were getting, but getting the clone troopers definitely isn't a bad thing. It's always nice to be able to army build, but I think this will be a very fun battle pack. Getting the Maul Mandalorians as well as the 3 32nd clone troopers, definitely one that I'll be waiting to go on sale. I feel like at that new $23 price point for battle packs, definitely a bit steep, so I think it will no doubt go on sale for around $16 a couple months into release. And lastly, for January 1st, we have set 75452, a buildable BB-8 with 569 pieces and a retail of $89.99 in the US. Now, this is going to have a display plaque as well as a BB-8 minifigure, and it's just going to be very similar to the previous one we saw, but it's going to be more in the style of the other buildable droids. Now, this is one, most people aren't big fans of the sequels, but it definitely does have its fan base out there, so I think this is definitely a warranted set. BB-8 being pretty iconic from the sequels as well, so it's very nice to see this addition to the buildable droids, and I think LEGO's definitely been cooking with the recent buildable droids, so I'm very excited to see how they go about this build. And now that we're done with all of the January 1st sets, we can move on to the later months and releases, starting off with our March 1st sets in 2026. Now, we don't really have much information regarding the March sets just yet, but the first is going to be a poly bag coming in at $4.99, and then we have a couple of other sets ranging in their price ranges, the cheapest of which is going to be $40, then we have a $50 set, a $70 set, and an $80 set. Now, I'm not going to speculate on what these are going to be in this video just yet. I'll have a new one coming out in a couple of days of what these sets could actually be, but that does it for our March 1st wave. But moving on to May 1st, we actually have some more information, and we actually know what these sets are going to be. The first of which is set 75438, the Yoda bust. These are going to be in the 18 plus style, and this particular set has 399 pieces and a retail of $49.99. One that I am very excited to see. We saw the Yoda bust all those years ago, so it'll be great to get a new updated version, although this is going to be very small in comparison. but I do think getting the actual character busts of someone like Yoda will definitely open many doors in the future, but arguably the more exciting bust of the two is set 75439, the Darth Vader bust, once again an 18 plus set with 349 pieces and a retail of $59.99. Now this is a little bit odd because looking toward the Yoda bust coming in at 399 pieces, it costs $50, but the Darth Vader bust has 349 pieces, which is less pieces and costs $10 more. Now I'm assuming this is just because it uses bigger pieces. Darth Vader has a more like bigger kind of helmet in comparison to Yoda, which is going to be using smaller pieces to get the overall shape down. But it is interesting to see that $10 price difference, but both of these busts should be very fun to see. Personally, most excited for Darth Vader being one of my favorite characters and definitely a fan favorite in the Star Wars community, so definitely will be very cool to see. Now, the next set releasing on May 1st, we have an unknown set that is going to be a 75444. It's a 7 plus set with 297 pieces and a retail of $44.99. And that is the perfect storm for another super battle pack, those being 7 plus sets. Well, you know, between 200 to 400 pieces, as well as being a price tag of $44.99. So it looks like we have another super battle pack on the way for LEGO Star Wars. Now, there's been a lot of speculation, and I don't want to speculate too much in this video. A lot of people think that this is going to be some sort of Wolfpack battle pack, so that'll be an interesting one to see, but really nothing concrete backing that just yet. But coming in at 279 pieces, as well as a retail price of $44.99, we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully it's not another super battle pack. Hopefully LEGO learns their lessons with the current 327th battle pack situation. But if we were to see a super battle pack, I'd definitely be happy if it was the Wolfpack, but we have no information that is concrete just yet. And the last 3 sets to release in May are all going to be tied into the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Now, we don't know what these are just yet, but the prices will be for the first and the cheapest of which is coming in at $75, which is a little bit odd to see, you know, in between. Normally we see it either at 70 or like $80. So 75 coming in right down the middle. So that's an interesting one. And then the next one coming in at $130. So that will be probably some sort of playset or something like that. And then the most expensive of which is $150. So that being probably a playset, but will be interesting to see because most of the playsets that we saw, especially for the summer of 2025, were at $160. So is LEGO, you know, cutting back on the price? Because this is 930 pieces, so that's like a lot more pieces than the turbo tank. So definitely seeing that price decrease is definitely a good thing, as the turbo tank was wildly overpriced. So hopefully we're seeing a $10 decrease on all of the play sets, because the $160 price tag definitely didn't go over well. So I'm not sure what this could be. Maybe it's some sort of AT-AT like a lot of people were speculating, because we are getting the midi scale one, but a lot of people really wanted to see a new version of the play scale one. So that could be this set. $150 and 930 pieces would make sense, but I feel like it is definitely a good thing to see a price decrease on the bigger of the play sets. But now, as we move on to some of our last sets, on June 1st of 2026, when we normally get a very small wave for LEGO Star Wars, we have 2 more Mandalorian and Grogu sets. We don't know the actual price or piece counts for them, but you know, we'll definitely be tying into the movie, as that will be the big thing for 2026. And we also have 1 set releasing on July 1st of 2026 as of right now, and we have no information about it at all, other than the fact that it's a 14 plus set with the set number 75459. And that does it for what we know. Now, we also have some other sets around the corner, like the UCS sets for 2026, and as time goes on, we'll get a lot more information. So if you want to be first notified when all of that information comes out, make sure to subscribe to this channel with post notifications on, so you are first notified when we get that new information. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like and stay safe. Drew, signing out.